What if I told you that the difference between complete financial ruin and building a billion-dollar empire could be found in a single moment of prayer? Today, we're diving into one of the most extraordinary comeback stories in modern business history. A story that challenges everything we think we know about success, failure, and the power of unwavering faith. Imagine losing everything: your company, your reputation, your family's future. All gone in what feels like an instant. This isn't just a hypothetical scenario. This is the reality that countless entrepreneurs face every single day. But what separates those who stay down from those who rise again? What transforms rock bottom into the foundation for something even greater? A fall from grace. Our story begins with a CEO who had it all. A thriving company, millions in revenue, respect from peers, and a lifestyle that most people only dream of. But success, as we know, can be fragile. Market crashes, poor decisions, betrayal from trusted partners. Sometimes it only takes one perfect storm to bring down an empire that took decades to build. When the bankruptcy papers were filed, when the lawyers walked away, when even family members began to distance themselves, this CEO found himself in a place millions of entrepreneurs know all too well. Completely and utterly alone. The weight of failure crushing down, not just on his shoulders, but on everyone who had believed in him. Employees losing their jobs, investors losing their money, dreams crumbling into dust. But here's where our story takes an unexpected turn. In that darkest moment, when logic said to give up, when every financial advisor recommended walking away, something deeper stirred within him. It wasn't desperation. It was something far more powerful. The moment of surrender. Picture this. A man who had built his identity around being in control, suddenly finding himself powerless. The boardrooms were empty, the phone calls had stopped, and the bank accounts showed zero. In that silence, he did something that many successful people struggle to do. He admitted he couldn't do it alone. The prayer wasn't elaborate. It wasn't in a grand cathedral or during a religious ceremony. It was raw, honest, and desperate. A simple conversation with something greater than himself, acknowledging that his own strength had brought him this far, but something else would need to carry him forward. What happened next challenges our understanding of how business recovery works. Instead of immediately jumping back into the same patterns that had led to failure, he began to operate from a completely different foundation. Faith became his compass, not just in spiritual matters, but in every business decision that followed. Rebuilding with purpose. The comeback didn't start with a business plan. It started with a shift in perspective. Where once there was ego, now there was humility. Where once there were shortcuts, now there was patience. Where once there was fear-driven decision-making, now there was faith-guided strategy. The first steps were small, not because he lacked ambition, but because he had learned the difference between building on sand and building on solid ground. He started by serving others, solving real problems, and creating genuine value. Concepts that had somehow gotten lost during his first rise to success. Partnerships formed differently this time. Instead of just looking at what others could do for him, he focused on what he could contribute. Investors weren't just sources of capital. They became aligned partners in a mission bigger than profit. Employees weren't just resources. They became family members working toward a shared vision. The power of authentic leadership. What emerged was a leadership style that his former self wouldn't have recognized. Vulnerability replaced arrogance. Transparency replaced secrecy. Service replaced self. These weren't just nice philosophical concepts. They became practical business strategies that attracted the right people and opportunities. Customers began to notice something different. The products weren't just functional. They carried a deeper purpose. The company culture wasn't just about performance metrics. It was about human dignity and shared growth. The brand wasn't just about market share. It was about making a meaningful impact. This authentic approach created something that no amount of traditional marketing could achieve. Genuine loyalty. People didn't just buy from the company. They believed in what it represented. They didn't just work for the company. They felt called to be part of something significant. The miraculous multiplication. Here's where the story becomes almost unbelievable. The second empire didn't just recover the value of the first. It exceeded it exponentially. But more importantly, it was built to last. The foundation wasn't just financial. It was spiritual, ethical, and deeply rooted in principles that could withstand any storm. Revenue growth happened, but it wasn't forced or manipulative. It was organic, sustainable, and aligned with genuine value creation. Market expansion occurred, but it was strategic and purposeful, not reckless and ego. Team growth happened, but it was based on shared values and mutual respect, not just talent acquisition. The numbers were impressive, but the transformation was even more remarkable. Competitors began studying the company's approach. Business schools started teaching case studies about their methods. Industry leaders sought advice and partnerships. Beyond financial success, what makes this story truly extraordinary isn't just the financial comeback. It's the complete transformation of what success means. The rebuilt empire became a force for positive change in the industry and community. Job creation wasn't just about business growth. It was about providing opportunities for others to thrive. Charitable initiatives weren't marketing strategies. They were natural extensions of the company's core values. Environmental responsibility wasn't compliance. It was stewardship. Innovation wasn't about beating competitors. It was about solving real problems for real people. The CEO's personal life also reflected this transformation. Relationships that had been sacrificed during the first empire were not only restored but strengthened. Family became a priority, not an afterthought. Health, physical, mental, and spiritual became foundational, not optional. The ripple effect. Perhaps the most powerful aspect of this story is how it inspired others. Entrepreneurs, facing their own failures, found hope. Employees discovered what it meant to work with purpose. Customers experienced what authentic business relationships could feel like. Other business leaders began questioning their own approaches. If faith could fuel such remarkable success, what did that mean for their own strategies? If humility could create stronger leadership than ego, what needed to change in their own management styles? The story spread not through traditional media, but through genuine testimonials and word-of-mouth recommendations. People shared it because it offered something desperately needed in today's business world. Proof that success and integrity don't have to be mutually exclusive. Lessons for today's entrepreneurs. So what can we learn from this incredible journey? First, failure isn't final. It's often preparation for something greater. The skills, knowledge, and even the humility gained through failure can become the very foundation for unprecedented success. Second, authentic leadership isn't just morally superior. It's more effective. When people trust not just your competence, but your character, they're willing to go further, work harder, and remain loyal longer than any compensation package could ensure. Third, purpose-driven business isn't just feel good philosophy. It's practical strategy. When your company exists to solve real problems and serve genuine needs, market forces work with you rather than against you. This story reminds us that sometimes our greatest limitations become our greatest strengths. Sometimes our deepest failures prepare us for our highest achievements. Sometimes surrendering control is exactly what we need to do to gain real power. The CEO's prayer wasn't just about asking for help. It was about aligning with principles and purposes bigger than personal ambition. It was about tapping into sources of strength, wisdom, and guidance that transformed not just his business approach, but his entire understanding of what success could look like. Your own comeback story. As we conclude this remarkable journey, I want you to consider your own story. Maybe you're facing challenges that seem insurmountable. Maybe you've experienced failures that feel final. Maybe you're questioning whether your dreams are still possible. This story isn't just about one CEO's incredible comeback. It's about the potential that exists within each of us when we're willing to rebuild on the right foundation. It's about the power that becomes available when we combine practical wisdom with unwavering faith. It's about the success that's possible when we align our ambitions with authentic purpose. The question isn't whether you have what it takes to succeed. The question is whether you're willing to build your success on principles that will sustain it. Whether you're ready to lead with both competence and character. Whether you're prepared to create value that goes beyond personal gain. What would your comeback story look like? What empire could you build if you combined your skills with unshakable faith? What impact could you make if you measured success, not just by what you achieve, but by how many others you lift up along the way? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Have you experienced a failure that later became the foundation for something greater? What role has faith played in your entrepreneurial journey? Share your story. It might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. If this story inspired you, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We share stories like this regularly because we believe that business success and positive impact can go hand in hand. Give this video a thumbs up if it resonated with you, and share it with someone who might need to hear this message today. Remember, your current chapter isn't your final chapter. Your greatest comeback might be just one prayer, one decision, one step of faith away.